Yes. What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Veterans Minimum. I'm your host, Nick Deus, at Nick Deus 10, as you can find me. My guy sipping on that lean. What is that?
Sipping on a glass of water.
Let's go.
What's up, man?
Oh,
Impy
hydration
here.
gang.
How you feeling?
Good. I'm feeling good. How you feeling? Bets? What rough weekend,
Rough weekend. I mean, I had a couple Chiefs kind of money line parlays.
Yeah, but I saw your tweet, bro. Don't beat yourself up. Shit happens.
Of course. Oh, believe me. I mean, there's been plenty of good days mixed in. You know, what the point I was trying to get across was 500 days when you're betting and you hit 500 that day. Some days those are wins.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because if you keep piling on winning days and then you go 500 and then maybe a losing day here or there, those 500 days really kind of keep you at that level. So that was kind of the point I was trying to get across. Where it's like you may see that this is a 500 day 2-2. You may think, oh, I didn't make any money. Don't worry, because there will be bad days, and then obviously there's going to be the great days.
Yeah.
So
but also, like I've told you before, and this is how I approach the Patreon content with the betting. You could go 2-2, but you could still like walk away with a nice profit, depending on what your two games were. For example, I went 2-2 divisional card weekend, but my two favorite picks I lost on. So I went 2-2, but I actually ended up a loser because I lost more money on that. Because when I have a favorite pick that I'm confident on, I'll probably lay $200.
Yeah.
On that side, right? So like Packers -5.5. I was on that. Didn't work out. I was on Titans -3.5. Didn't work out. The other games that I liked but not as strong,
those are the ones that you won.
The ones that I won on, yeah. And I didn't hammer those as much because I also had the futures and the props and all that. So I wouldn't get discouraged, bro. That's just part of the game, man.
Also, another thing that I really think about is, was it a bad beat? Like, were you kind of on the right track? I mean, I know at the end of the day it's a win or a loss, but what I mean is I had Edwards-Helaire over 37.5 rushing yards. He finished with 36 rushing yards. But if you watch that game, they were running the ball kind of whenever they wanted. They had a lot of success on the ground. And that was actually a criticism that the Chiefs faced in the second half. It's like, why didn't they run the ball as much?
Enough, yeah.
So to me, it's like I was on it in the sense of if he got one more handoff, and he didn't even, he probably didn't even clips 10 handoffs. You know what I mean? So it's like I was on it. They were running the ball really well. Yeah. They just kind of shied away from it. So in those situations, it's like not the end of the world. You were kind of on the right track. So those are some of the other things that I try to take into consideration as well when I'm betting. Was it a loss? Yeah, but was it a bad beat?
Yeah, and I don't think a bad beat is an excuse. I think so. Like if you had Skowronek, what was his name? That wide receiver. You had him to score a touchdown, like 5-1. This fucking legend drops the ball. He doesn't even know. You saw how he tried to catch it?
Didn't he just hit off his hands? No.
Yeah, but he put his hands out and it hit like his forearm. It's like, yo, what are we doing, bro? Yeah. This is why you on special teams, cuz.
I was gonna say that. Yeah. Well, that's.
So that would be a bad beat. A bad like. What was I had a prop that I did alternate yards Van Jefferson 40. Cause I was like, yo, all his like A-dot, right? It's all shit down the field. Start the game out, I think he catches like an 8-yard pass. And I think that's what he ended with.
Yeah.
So like that's just a bad play. That's a bad decision there.
And 100%, you're 100% right. That's why I was so mad. Another one of my plays was Uzoma over 3.5 receptions.
Yeah, that's just unfortunate because he got hurt.
But it's not even that. He had 2 targets in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
They were going to him, right? My analysis was they're going to spend all their time and attention on the elite wide receivers. And it was correct. Uzoma literally had 2 targets in the first couple of plays.
Yeah.
I was right. He wound up getting hurt. So it's like,
dude, one of my favorite bets yesterday was under Chase 83.5 yards. And it went under. It hit. But, I mean, he still, balled out, though. That's a high number, dude, 83.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp's was 103, which is wild. Yo, any wide receiver that's over 100.
Off principle, just go under,
I'm
right?
going under, yeah. I'm going under. But Cooper Kupp, it's like just, I think with yesterday's game, it was a third. He broke Michael Irving's record for most 100-yard games in a single season.
Yeah.
Most yards ever, too. Dude's fucking stallion, that guy.
I got some winners and losers of the weekend.
Oh, the whole weekend?
The whole weekend.
Oh, dope. You just gave me a title for the episode.
Let's get
go, son. Your show now.
Yo.
I don't know the list.
At all.
All right, so you read me. You you present the topic, and then we'll just have the conversation.
Do you want to go back and forth? Winners, losers, winners, losers.
Yeah. Give one.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So winners.
Okay.
A winner of one of the winners of the weekend. Odell's dad.
Yes.
I mean,
executive of the year. Like,
I mean,
I gotta be on the ballot at least.
it's not to say that everyone was like anti-Odell and everyone thought that he didn't have a shot to kind of turn it around. There was a lot of people that, believed it and that this would happen, right? There were some haters, don't get me wrong, right? But I think there was a big pocket of people who thought this was possible. Odell's dad included, and Odell, and McVay, obviously, because all of those reports from the beginning were, he really sold Odell on coming to the Rams, and that's why he picked the Rams over the Packers. It's because McVay, kind of geeked out and had all these plays drawn up already beforehand. So, they sold him on the front end, and he's delivered on the back end. So, I think, but yeah, Odell's dad just from the beginning, winner of the weekend.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, from the moment that he became a pivotal part of their offense,
Woods.
With Woods going down, shout out to Cooper Kupp. I love that tweet. You saw the tweet where he posted about Robert Woods saying like, "Yo, we wouldn't be here without you. Just want you to know that we're thinking about you and wish you were out there." So that was really cool to see, because there hasn't been an athlete that I was more wrong on than Robert Woods. Like, dude became one of my favorite.
He got to a good place, right?
Bro, when he was on Buffalo, I was like, there's no way this guy's going to sign a second contract. Like, he was going to be a guy that was just going to be out the league. And then he signs that second contract, and he got paid. At the time, it was like a $9 million per year. You're like, yo, what the fuck?
They must know something,
They got to know some shit. And then he became, honestly, bro, in my top 10 favorite wide receivers. Like, he might not light it up in fantasy, but he does have those games where he pops off. But just like when I think of Robert Woods, I think 6 for 80.
And an end around for 12 yards.
Yeah, like, dude is just so solid and a beast at blocking. And he ends up going down, and Odell comes in. But even, bro, like from the beginning, right, when he got there, they were scheming up plays for him. They were trying to get him involved. And then that showed into his play, too, because he was happy. He knew he was going to get 7 to 8 targets as opposed to 2 targets and both of them being uncatchable when he's with Baker and shit. And he's a guy that needs to be in a big city, bro. Like the lights of LA. You don't think that shit motivates him and inspires him, too? Dude,
just not only has he played great, but big moments. Like, I think that's what's most impressive. In the fourth quarter, along the sideline, the unreal Stafford throw. We'll talk about Stafford in a little bit. But where he takes the hit to the head, holds on to the rock.
They threw
Bro, unreal catches.
9 for 113.
In big moments, too. Big catches. Third down conversion. Stafford was, 11 for 18 on third down. Jimmy G, 3 of 9. We'll talk about more later. But that, and a lot of those were to his guys. So, big moments and big numbers,
bro. And you're so right about him in like clutch moments. Think about that Ravens game, 4th and 2, they go to him, and then he scores the touchdown also. And just on 3rd and 8s when everyone's on Cooper Kupp, and Rex Ryan was on NFL Countdown, and I don't really watch any pregame shows just because like I'm worried about my fantasy lineups, last minute betting and shit. Like I tell people all the time, you can't text me from 11 to 1 o'clock. Like 2 hours before you can't text. You have all week to ask me my opinions and my thoughts. Like, especially like when it's like one of our homies and shit. I'll respond, but you can't. I have Dominic call me sometime. I'm like, bro. He's like, oh yeah, now you answer, and it's 1:30. I'm like, dude, you know this. This has been happening for years. So when he was playing in those games, in those situations, he constantly would deliver in like big spots. And Odell in this game, too, biggest game of his career, gets 11 targets, 9 for 113.
Biggest game of his career. Wow, yeah.
Is it not?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy to think about that. The biggest game of his career came in a situation where he got waived.
Yeah. Hold that thought, because I got super sidetracked and I was trying to remember where I was. But back to Rex Ryan. I don't really watch pregame shows. And he said, the Rams use Cooper Kupp and Odell the same way. And Teddy Bruschi was like, all right, you got to show me because I don't believe you. And they show an example of a play where, like, Odell comes, like, from the right side in motion. Stafford's looking at him, and then Cooper Kupp runs, like, the ICYP chair play. He runs like a wheel, and he hits Cooper Kupp. Then they run the same exact play where Cooper Kupp's the guy in motion, and Odell is the guy running the wheel route.
It's the system, baby.
It's the system. And it's like, they're both such a big part. And then I hear that, I'm like, I still think he's bugging. But then you look, 11 catches for Kupp, 9 catches for Odell, 142 for Kupp, 113 for Odell.
Yeah.
That was the whole offense, bro.
Yeah. Yesterday
It was
a little Higbee, right? But
Higbee went down early. He went down.
A little Higbee early.
Blanton was the revelation. But yeah, Odell's dad. And look, man, it's something that happens all the time to athletes. And I feel like Stafford could tie into this. And I talk about this shit all the time. So much of your success is where you go, who drafts you, and where you end up, the system, the players around you.
Legacy game for Stafford yesterday.
Oh, for sure. But even with Odell, it's like, yeah, look, and I was a little skeptical too. My issue with Odell was, you asked out of New York, you deserved what happened in Cleveland.
But didn't he say Cleveland was okay?
Yeah, at first it was okay because Jarvis was there and he just didn't want to play with Eli and he didn't want to be in New York. So he didn't know what to expect with Baker.
Yeah.
So it's like, a lot of times, and we've talked about this often, like what happened to Mike Wallace when he left Big Ben?
Yeah.
Right? What happens to these guys? Greg Jennings, he leaves Rodgers, lights him up every talk show he goes on, but it's like, bro, you were nothing when Rodgers wasn't your quarterback anymore. So everyone bitches and moans about the quarterback, but then when you leave, you see what happens. Even AB, until he found Brady, it was like,
yeah.
You don't think he went to Oakland and was like, damn, son, Derek Carr?
I don't know about this.
Let me fake fucking cryotherapy.
Make a YouTube account.
Yeah. So I think Odell just fell victim of circumstance more than anything.
Yeah.
And then he goes to LA. It's like, look, bro, take your time, learn the playbook. We'll draw a place for you. You got a quarterback that's going to get you the ball. You're not going to be the number one option because this dude is on a career year, all-time historic season.
At one point, he wasn't even going to be the number 2.
And then, oh, shit, Woods gets hurt before you even have the jersey ceremony for you. Now we need you even more. And you don't need to be our home run threat because we got Van Jefferson for that.
Yeah.
I think it was just a perfect scenario.
Yeah.
Shouts to Odell's pops.
Absolutely. One loser of the weekend. Kyle Shanahan's fourth quarter play calling reputation.
Oof.
Yeah. So the 4th and 2 punt was tough at the end of the game. You're at midfield. Juszczyk just got stopped. You need 2 yards. You're this guru. Go get those 2 yards. Your defense was playing good. I understand. That defense, I think, was underrated for the entire season. And we could maybe talk about that a little bit later. I think it was just an extremely underrated defense. For so long, we thought about that maybe the secondary wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But
the pass rush was
so good.
Yeah. Warner's a problem, son. He's so fun to watch, too.
But just, dude, get those 2 yards. And real quick, I think over the last 3 seasons, the Niners are 3-2 when leading by 10 or more in the fourth quarter in the playoffs. Over the last 3 seasons, the Niners are 3-2 when leading by 10 or more in the fourth quarter. The rest of the league, when leading by 10 or more in the fourth quarter in the playoffs, is 23-0. And one of those losses of the 3-2
was the Super Bowl. Yeah, they're up 20-10 going into that. Because I remember that was the year with the Super Bowl boxes. Cheap plug, get in on the Super Bowl boxes. We got 35 spots left. But that was the year where halftime was 0-0 and the third quarter was 0-0. So you doubled up because it was 10-0 and then it was 20-10.
Got it.
Sorry, it was 10-10 at halftime and then it was 20-10.
I don't think
you would have went for it on 4th down?
Yeah, but I also think it has something to do with the quarterback. Like, I think if Kyle had a better quarterback, he would make different decisions.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think when you're limited and you know you're limited,
could only protect him for so long.
Yeah, and I think that was the game.
But
yesterday.
Even still, though, bro, like your whole objective is to build a lead and then have him not mess it up, right? So the fact that you have a 17-7 lead, I feel like that falls more on the play calling.
But what I think happens is you get the lead and then the defenses say, okay, beat me. I mean, they were doing that the whole game yesterday because Mitchell didn't really do much either.
He got shut down.
The Rams did a great job of stopping the run. So, but they had the Rams went into their halftime. The Rams were losing and they were outplaying the Niners. You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things where I think he would just call a different game if he had more faith in his quarterback. That's what I think. I'm surprised there was no Trey Lance for any of the playoffs. They kind of did a little bit at the beginning of the season. And then not much. He played a little bit at the end of the year, right? But I was just surprised that there wasn't more Trey Lance creativity package plays. But
It's probably the Mike Zimmer quote. Like, we see him every day.
yeah.
So he probably doesn't trust him yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because, look, it wasn't... He would end up with, like, 23 fantasy points. But then you'd be like, yo, he had no memorable plays.
Yeah. I remember the one game he came in and in relief one game and he played a full game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. He had, like, it was all one play.
Yeah. It was never anything...
And random, like, 8-yard rushes.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying in terms of a little wrinkle.
Yeah, give him a different look, something to think about. I feel you on that. Yeah, it's weird, bro. It's weird how in the fourth quarter, like, even, he was the offensive coordinator in Atlanta.
Yeah. And the Niners did a good job of getting their guys the ball, man. Kittle scores a touchdown. Debo scores
No, they did not.
Well, at the end of the game?
Bro, Debo not a touch with 12:30 to go. Bro,
didn't he catch the pass in the fourth quarter where the yards after the catch he got the first down? That was the last catch he had?
The last two drives, he didn't touch the ball.
Okay.
So I don't know if it was 12:30. I read that somewhere.
I don't know if it was 12:30.
But I know in the last two drives, he didn't touch the rock. And we always talk about, like, yo,
we love probably like 10 minutes. You're right. It was probably, yeah.
And we always talk about, like, yo, we love what Cincinnati was doing, and the rounds, chasing the backfield, like they do it with Tyreek, they do it with Cooper Kupp. Like, you manufacture touches for your guys.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, how you not give the Debo the ball?
I understand. It's just he did everything he could to get that guy the ball the whole playoffs, the entire season.
He did.
I understand
for sure.
what you're saying. I just think, damn, that's crazy now that you say the last. I remember him touching the ball. He caught that pass, got the first down. They were at midfield. That was crazy. Was that really 12 minutes left?
Bro, yeah. The double, like, 10 minutes. Yeah, it was wild. Bro, I have the Rams future, so I was glad when they weren't giving him the ball, and they're throwing passes to, like, Jawan Jennings and Hasty. Travis Benjamin also got a target. He's like, what are we doing? Yeah. Keep those going. How do you not give... you got to, like, scheme some shit up for him. And, you don't even need to do anything crazy. You saw the touchdown he scored. What's up? Hike, turn around, throw it off to the flats. Wide receiver flats, screen. You love it. That was your play, man. It used to make us go crazy.
I would say also the Niners line wasn't as dominant yesterday as it probably was the whole season, and you have to give credit to the Rams front.
Oh, yeah.
But I think Trent Williams was injured.
Oh, yeah, I agree with you.
Right?
For sure.
So, it's crazy, man. The Niners were, despite not playing as well as the Rams, they had the lead, and tough L.
Tough L.
Yeah.
Let's go back to a winner. Brighten the mood up.
Let's go back to a winner. Kickers in college football right now.
As a former kicker myself, I'm hyped.
The kid McPherson, 5th round pick. Talk about
Tucker than him?
Just more so talk about creating value for, like, now people are going to draft kickers. Like, yo, you see what this kid did? We need a good kicker.
Yeah.
We can spend some draft capital. I know teams do it occasionally, but
I think teams got scared when Tampa Bay took Aguayo, is his name?
Yeah, 2nd round. That's crazy.
Florida State? That's wild. But
could have been a franchise lineman.
But let's add context, too. That was off a historically bad Tampa Bay kicking year.
Yeah, but they weren't a kicker away.
And then that's very fair too, absolutely.
No one's a kicker away.
Yeah, no one's a kicker away. And then at Florida State, he was like the most accurate kicker in college football history.
Yeah.
Yo, that's hilarious though. But shout out to him, man. Rookie too, son. That's dope.
Yeah. So
big kicks on the road too.
He crushed every prop over the last probably 4 or 5 weeks of the season. His kicking prop was like over 6.5 points. So you figure that's like, however you want to slice and dice it,
Yeah.
An extra
2
point.
Field goals, extra point. Yeah.
He smoked his prop every week. So I don't know. I just think he's putting kickers back on the map. Also with the swag this was last week. I guess we're going to the AFC title game. You think he said, I guess we're going to the Super Bowl?
Hope he did.
Yeah. During any point?
I think all the guys on his team probably felt that way too.
Yeah.
That's huge, bro. Knowing that you got a guy that you don't even need to... And bombs too, right? Like, what was it, 54 yards, 53 yards against the Titans? Mm-hmm. And that one's an Arrowhead. It was like around a 40-something yarder. And, the pressure of it too. Like, all these kickers can hit. It comes down to how you handle the pressure. Everybody can hit a 60-yard field goal. If you're doing it on air, like the tee there, and you take your time or your composure and shit, like, everyone can hit it.
Yeah.
But can you hit it when it's fucking...
Pressure's on.
Spiraling winds out the left end zone. Be careful.
And how much does the pressure affect a kicker, too? Like, I think some of that kind of late game poise really matters in a quarterback, right? That ability to kind of, to be calm, cool, and collected under pressure. That must exist with kickers too, no?
Oh, 1,000,000%.
Right?
Yes.
So I think that's something.
And also factor this in. You are isolated from your team.
Yeah.
So the only thing that you do is kick. If you miss a kick, guys are going to be like, man, this motherfucker, all he does is kick.
Yeah.
He can't even do that shit. What's he good for?
Yep.
Right? And then they're going to be giving you the stink eye.
Yeah.
But when you hit your field goals, it's like, it might be as precious as being a quarterback when you make it. Like, you're celebrated.
Yeah.
But when you miss, it's worse.
I don't know if I was talking to you about this or someone else. I was like, how many kickers actually feel like part of the team? And I think it was my boy Henry. He was like, I don't know, probably like a handful, right? Tucker's feels like a part of the team.
Cool.
Koo, homie, Butker is probably, some of these guys who, like you said, have been around the block, hit some big kicks for a team.
Gostowski felt like a Patriot.
You got your nuke, you got your contract extension. Those guys are the. Yeah.
I feel that for sure.
I have a loser, and this is gonna sound crazy, but offensive lines.
How about offensive line Twitter?
Well, just why? Oh, why?
How do you not take an offensive lineman at 5? Joe Burrow's knee. I was one of them too.
Yeah,
I was one of them too. I was like, I probably would have taken the offensive lineman. But then as you look into it, you're like, yo, that's his boy. They lit it up.
They're killing.
But yeah, offensive line Twitter, massive L, son.
I'm just saying.
Dude, how about this? Do offensive linemen matter?
Yo, their offensive line, according to every measurement, according to every statistic, every outlet,
how about
is bad.
this? How about this? How about eye test?
They're bad.
Yesterday, Burrow had to scramble 2-3 times. Yo, remember I told you a couple weeks ago? I was like, yo, how many times does Burrow stay in the pocket?
Slide.
And he kind of
duck
does
down
slide,
and go forward.
duck under. Bro, he did that mad times. The one big play where he hits Chase.
Well, no, I thought the play of the game was when.
The T. Higgins?
No, he escaped Chris Jones twice.
Oh, the third and 7. Yes.
Fourth quarter runs. He's not fast, but he's fast enough. He's not quick, but he's quick enough.
Yeah.
He's more than accurate. He has his arm's not strong, but it's strong enough.
He's sneaky athletic. Draft day cliche for a white guy.
Joe Burrow, his chain, just his whole embody. He's the man. I'm done betting against the Bengals. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever bet against them ever again. Just like,
yo, you know what's crazy, bro? A lot of people started jumping on the bandwagon of he got like Tom Brady charisma and like his posture and shit. Just like everything about him is, cause like, yo, he's not. I think we talked about it either with you or with Alan about how if you line up 10 quarterbacks in the league and you do like throw it from the goal line drills, like he's probably not gonna win those.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't look like you're 6'6", like Justin Herbert looks like, oh my God, you watch him throw and shit, you look at the size, you're like, oh, like Vince McMahon looking at like Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar, like, oh, almighty, right? You look at Burrow, you're like, all right, he looked like Romo, kind of built like Romo and shit, but it's like, yo, he got the swag, the charisma.
First quarterback to lead the NFL in sacks taken and then make the Super Bowl.
7 quarterbacks in NFL history have made the Super Bowl in their first 2 seasons.
Mahomes?
Well, technically, it was his third.
Mahomes? No, that was Mahomes' second season.
Mahomes' second season, he won MVP. They lost in the AFC title game.
You're right.
So it's Russell Wilson. It's Big Ben. It's Dan Marino. Some other legend in like the 80s. I forgot who. It was, who else? Second year. Burrow now. I should have had the list in front of me.
He's in some impressive
company. For sure. I think he's the first round pick to make a Super Bowl this fast too.
Got it. I mean, there's a lot of similarities with Mahomes. I met it was Mahomes' second year. He made the Super Bowl in his second year playing.
As a starter,
Yeah.
yes. But that's why I was saying being an actually technically guy. You're right. It was his second year playing.
Yeah.
But like years in the league, it was his third year that he won it.
But I think you just need to take into consideration that the Bengals are like a bad franchise. Relatively speaking, bad franchise.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Bro, for so long, they were known for having like these cast-offs with like DUIs and domestic violence on their team and shit.
But not even that. I would say at their lows, they were really low. And at their highs, they were not that high. Wild card, first round bounce.
Yeah, no one ever picked the Bengals to win, even if they made the playoffs.
They were never a team. Like, I hate to say it, right? Think of the Jaguars. They were like a play or two away from beating the Patriots in the
AFC title game.
For all you want to say about how bad the Jaguars have been, and they've been bad, I would. Am I crazy for maybe taking one of those seasons over a couple of first round bounces with Andy Dalton? That's just the way that I'm thinking about it. I could be wrong. Historically bad franchise where the Chiefs, they were a 10-win team, and Andy Reid 10-win team, Alex Smith.
Yo, 2 wins, 4 wins, Burrow rookie season, 10 wins in a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we always say, dude. You find a quarterback.
Yeah.
And you know who else deserves his flowers? The front office for the Bengals, because they could have easily been like, yo, Zach, you're out. How many coaches get dealt a bad hand like he did?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, the first year we'll give you a pass because it's the first year, you're a new guy, whatever. Second year, it's like, oh, my God, you still only won 4 games. Yeah, but my quarterback just blew out his knee. It don't matter, like the team, whatever. And then before you know it. And, yo, guess what? They ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
Because they don't got to pay Burrow yet. They don't got to pay Chase yet.
Who knows what's going on with the Steelers?
Yeah, who knows what's happening in Cleveland?
Yeah. I heard a story about McVay a couple years ago getting interviewed, pre-producer interview, whatever, during a game. He was probably on one of the Monday nights or Sunday night primetime games. And they were asking him about the schedule. And they asked him about the Bengals that game. One of the games on the schedule was like the Bengals, and this was early in the Zach Taylor regime because
that's his guy. It was under his coaching tree.
And he was like, "I'm telling you right now, they're going to be good. They're going to be a good team. He's a really good coach." And obviously, to your point, he's his guy. But to kind of go out on a limb and say like that team will be good, I think that's awesome. And it's just a crazy season. They've had some big wins, but they've also had some bad losses. The Jets and the Cleveland 41-16 loss. Where you're thinking like, damn.
Yo, you're going to be like, yo, we beat the Super Bowl champs. How far are we? With the franchise, Mike White, right?
I'm just saying, man.
But back to the offensive line stuff. I think that's huge, man.
Is this the outlier, or is this now, hey, let's do this. I mean, it's easier said than done. Let's get a top 5 wide receiver core. And I was actually making the argument they're the best receiving core in the league, and we can have that conversation in 30 seconds. I said, put together the best receiving core in the NFL, get a top 5-7 running back. Obviously, you need a really good quarterback. But if you got all that, your offensive line don't have to be that good. Or do you make the offensive line really good, and then you say, hey, some of these other surrounding pieces may not have to be as good. Anyway, Bengals.
Yo, I would probably go with elite weapons.
Over offensive line?
Over elite O-line.
Just go get like a bunch of depth, right? Go get like a bunch of solid guys.
Give me like a bunch of B-, C+ offensive linemen with A+ receivers.
Everything else.
Yeah.
Because...
Bro, T. Higgins.
Oh, I was on the T. Higgins train today.
Hold on, real quick. Did he not look 7'5"?
He's a GOAT.
Bro,
he's up there for me right now.
Yo, he was making some plays where I was like, yo, how fucking tall is this dude?
Is he a number 1? How many teams is he a number 1 on?
Am
I wildin'?
Nah, I don't think you're wildin'. But I think... I don't know. That's tough, man. He did have some monster games, right? Like he had like a 12 for 196 kind of game too. But he had a tale of 2 seasons. Like the beginning of the year, he was kind of a dud.
I think that has a lot to do with him being a number 2 receiver. Keep in mind, he was close to 1,000 yards as a rookie with Joe Burrow for how many games?
Yeah.
And then who was after that? Do you remember? Because I can't
even
remember.
tell you. No, Brandon Allen, I would assume.
I think.
Because he's been there for a little bit.
So I think as the number one his rookie year, like I just did a deep dive into T. Higgins today because I was thinking about their Bengals receiving core. And like,
well, he had 6 for 103 yesterday.
6 for 103. He had 1,000 yards this year, 6 touchdowns as a number 2 receiver. Think about that.
Yeah.
And then last year he goes over 900, 6 touchdowns as a rookie with a good rookie quarterback at the start, but then tail end of the year, who knows? Really impressive. And then again, as I mentioned, he puts up 1,000 yards as a number 2 receiver. I think he's up there. He could be a number 1 somewhere else. And Boyd is no slouch as a 3.
Yeah. Well, Boyd knows his role, right? All his shits are slot, Hunter Renfrow kind of routes.
I just think when you look around the league, it's like,
well, dude, come on. Was I not on the bandwagon with their offense from the beginning of the year?
Absolutely.
I didn't see this.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Good man.
Yeah. But I did love all the weapons. And one of the reasons why, I had bet Joe Burrow, small little sprinkle on him to lead the league in passing yards. He finished top 5.
Yeah.
But that was also because he put like 900 yards up
at the end of the year.
Game and a half. But also it was the weapons. They got some studs, man.
When you have guys that are electric after the catch, like Chase, like Higgins, like Joe Mixon out the backfield, when you have electric guys like that, if the protection's not the greatest, if you're getting the ball out early, how many times was it Joe Burrow, 2 to 3 step drop, fade to Chase, or obviously one of these quick hitters or screen, like having these great skill guys obviously makes your quarterback that much better, and it could hide your offensive line issues.
The last thing I want to say with this talking point is Cincinnati, they have this year, right? They could still win a Super Bowl, right? Which is crazy. But you got next year and then the year after that. Because that's when Burrow, Chase are going to start, contract negotiations. If you are a team like the Chargers, you're a team like Cincinnati, you're a team like, fuck it, man, I'd even throw Jacksonville in there. I'd throw the Patriots in there. Now's the time to strike. Now's the time to go out there and be like, all right, you know what? We need some O-line. Let's go and get some O-line. Experienced, veteran, offensive lineman to help. But we got to take advantage of this cap situation. Because, think about it, dude. Has Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl? Since he got his contract extension? No. Patrick Mahomes, now, you saw Honey Badger's tweet today? It's like, thanks for the memories, yada, yada. Reports are he might not come back. Chris Jones was franchised. It's all fun and games. That's why it sucks. The Jets, same shit, man. If the Jets are all in on Zach Wilson, make it rain in free agency. Bring some motherfuckers in here to help.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Higgins thing started because I was like, Corey Davis just got $13 million. My team gave Corey Davis $13 million. Yeah. I was like, if I could give T. Higgins that money, I would do it yesterday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just comparing it apples that way, and
you gotta strike. You gotta strike now.
So I see what you're saying, and also those. I mean, you got to hit in the draft too. Now, some of these guys that if you're taking in the first couple of rounds, if they're impact guys and they make a difference their rookie year, that could really help too. Mm-hmm. It's really you're right. These next couple of years are really important. I think across the board too, though. I think you have to draft well too because what if you now Boyd? I mean, you have Higgins, Boyd, and you have Chase. Slowly but surely, you're not going to be able to pay those guys. I think Boyd is probably being paid around $9-10 million a year. He's obviously not going to last. So now it's time to draft. You have to hit on another receiver to kind of.
Well, Boyd's also like the older head in that group too. Boyd's been around.
He's not that old, I don't think.
Nah, he's not. He's 28 compared to Higgins, who's 23, and Chase is 21.
Yeah, he's the elder statesman.
Yeah, he's
despite
the OG
not being
there.
that old.
Right. Well, Cooper Kupp's 28 also.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to replace some of these guys, and as long as they do a good job, they'll be fine. And so far, they did a great job. I have another loser.
Holla at me.
Andy Reid's legacy.
All right,
it's fine.
Well, tell me why. Give me your reason why.
Okay.
Mr. Rings. There you go again, huh? Mr. Rings.
Andy Reid.
Because he only got one. Is that it?
No, I think. I just feel like, look, was it a collapse in the second half? Yes. And we'll talk about it.
Yo, I just remembered his Philly runs too.
I wrote, this loss is more of an indictment on Andy Reid and not Mahomes because this is more of his MO. Think about it. 4 in a row in Philly.
That's right. No, 5. He went to 5
But
straight.
he lost 4.
Yeah.
He got to
5.
lost 4. 4 in a row with the Chiefs.
The Eagles with Andy Reid were basically the Patriots of Belichick just without the hardware. Like,
got
NFC title game every year.
He got to 4 in a row with the Eagles. He got to 4 in a row with the Chiefs. He's 3-5, and he's only got 1 ring. Remember, the Andy Reid when he got the Super Bowl was he got over the hump. This is kind of more of his MO, and I just think the moment Mahomes got there, he kind of took them over the hump. He got them to the next level. That's obvious, but I don't want to put as much of this on Mahomes, man. Like, at the end of the first half, did he make a bonehead decision and throw the ball into the flat? Yeah, but I mean, he could have said, "Yo, kick the field goal." It's Andy Reid's decision, no?
Yeah.
It's 24-10 going into the.
He's 3-6 in conference championship games. You said 3-5. 3-6. He went 5 in Philly, and then he went 4 just now, and he's been to 3 Super Bowls. Lost 1 with the Eagles when they lost to the Pats. Lost the 1 to the Bucks, and then won the 1 with the Niners. Yeah, I mean, and that's your boy because no one loves coaching trees more than you.
And it's not, and I'm not trying to sit here and say he's like a great regular season coach. I think he's a great coach overall. I think great coaches are great coaches, but I do think.
Well, hold on. This is I hate these kind of discussions, and here's why. Because what is the standard you're holding him to?
Of course, it's hard to go to the Super Bowl.
But is the standard Bill Belichick? Because if it is, then everybody's a pretty bad coach. It's the Nick Saban thing, right? It's like you want to win a national championship, or if you're you're an SEC coach, it's like, well, we fired this guy after 3 years because he can't beat Saban. It's like, well, no shit, no one can, right? Dude dominates everybody. So if our standard is Phil Jackson, right? We want every NBA coach to be Phil Jackson or Greg Popovich. We want every coach to be Bill Belichick, Nick Saban. It's like, yeah, bro, it's going to be a hard standard.
Absolutely. But he is kind of being discussed as one of the greats now. So I think if you want to be in those discussions, you got to...
I feel like he's always been talked up as like an offensive mind.
Yeah, but he's also taken 3 teams. He's won 10 games. He has... there's his regular season statistics as a head coach are close to being unmatched, I think. Is it 2 teams to...
I think it's 2 teams that made Super Bowls in 2 different conferences.
So I feel terrible now that I don't have the information in front of me as well, but it's just his regular...
Got it, because I'm a professional. Andy Reid becomes first coach in NFL history to win 100 games with 2 different franchises.
There you go. He's basically, the Tom Brady. If you break Tom Brady's career into 2 halves, he's a Hall of Famer in the first half and the second half.
Yeah.
You can make the argument, or it's close, kind of, that he has 2 Hall of Fame resumes, Philly and the Chiefs.
Yeah,
that's what the point I'm trying to make is he is held to a little bit, or he could be held to a higher standard. And I understand 3-6, or I understand just getting to the Super Bowl is tough, but.
Yeah. Nah, man, it's you swung me a little bit, but I just feel as if it all is subjective to what your standard is for coaching.
Yeah.
Like amongst if you exclude Belichick, right? Let's say Belichick stepped away from football. He's like, yeah, I'm retired. I'm done. Is he not the best coach in the league?
Yeah, he is.
He'd probably be the most accomplished too. I would assume right now. Like who? Harbaugh. Harbaugh has one, but
Tomlin.
Yeah. So, and I would say Reed's more successful than those guys.
Longevity wise, yeah.
Longevity. He's been at 2 different places. Like he left Philly because
Tomlin's never had a losing season.
That's true too. Yeah. No, it's a fun discussion, man. But I feel like what's the standard? Like if you want all your quarterbacks to be like Brady. Ain't gonna happen. You want them all to be like Rodgers? Ain't gonna happen. You're talking about like all timers. Rodgers might win like what it was 4 or 5 MVPs. It might be if he wins it this year. It's like that's a hard standard.
I hear you. I just think
I like it though. That was a dope talking point,
and that's my guy.
Yeah.
Too.
But that's a bad like. Can I add some more to this?
Yeah, go.
Or unless you have it,
No.
like just like the Chiefs as a whole loser. Because
collapse.
21-3, son, and you're at home, and they did it to you twice, bro.
And the touchdown and the Bengals touchdown that they scored, the P. Ryan dump off.
Yeah.
Think about that. How that was a massive play.
Yeah.
It's not like they marched down.
No, for sure. But back to back, like the defensive coordinator, Lou Anarumo for the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, he shut down the Chiefs back-to-back times in the second half. Like the whole talking point when I was breaking down these games and even the video I shot, it's like, you ain't gonna keep the Chiefs to 3 points again. Like now you at Arrowhead and shit. And I ain't gonna front. I had some tweets in the draft. Like, alternate spread. I was on it. Game was they had the ball. It was 21-3.
Yeah.
And then collapse. Bad collapse because it's at home. If this happens on the road, you could be like, all right, man, momentum, crowd got behind, but like, nah, bro.
This is a big collapse.
Huge collapse.
And I want to just say, like, the third down at the end of regulation was kind of an embodiment of the entire season for Mahomes. He was trying to play hero ball, and in the biggest play of the game,
Lou Anarumo. Sorry.
That's the defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's getting looks.
Dude was definitely a bookie, right? Had to be. Look at that name, son. Someone was taking bets for sure. Yeah. Pit boss.
But
Pit boss Lou.
But
Mahomes, like messing around and shit. Live by the sword, die by the sword.
It's the when he was playing within himself and he wasn't trying to make the big play and he wasn't trying to do too much and take too much. They were deadly. He was running as a quarterback. He was doing all of those things. He was taking what the defense gave him, and he was becoming, they were being stopped for a little while, and he was making some, he was turning the ball over, and there were some times over the course of the year where it didn't look too great, and I think that was a lot of the hero ball stuff where he was trying to do too much against like two safeties, and again, that was kind of what you saw at the end of regulation where he's rolling around, he's rolling back, he takes the sack, right?
Yeah.
Him trying to do the hero ball thing. So that's kind of what he was doing at times when it wasn't looking good, and then he kind of reverted back to that in one of the biggest moments. They wind up, hitting the field goal, but I'm just saying that was a big.
But also, you made that shit way more difficult for him,
Yes.
right? 44-yard attempt.
Yeah.
That was rough.
And then the end of the first half, 21-10. At worst, it's 24-10, but instead you get no points. And you threw the one pass that you couldn't really throw. Literally the one pass. You could throw it in the end zone. You could throw it out of the end zone.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's weird, bro. And I'm a fan of going for it on, in situations like that, like especially when I have a quarterback like that. But that was a bad decision there.
It's again, you could make the argument that Andy Reid could have said, "No, we're gonna kick," but like the report is, Mahomes waved Andy Reid off. Mm-hmm. He said, "We're going for it." But does that mean Andy Reid wanted to kick?
I would assume so.
That maybe he did it and Andy Reid was gonna go for it anyway. You know what I mean? Like after the incompletion or whatever, he's like, "We're going." Like,
yeah, or maybe he wanted to see if Mahomes wanted to go for it.
See what he said? Yeah, it's just that's tough. It's a tough
decision, man. You're gonna have to think about that and live with that.
Yeah.
Because look, we were talking about it last week. How we might be looking at this Chiefs team as a team, years later, how like this core only won one championship. It's gonna be a different core next year, bro. The Mahomes contract's gonna kick in. It'll be like $40 million a year. Honey Badger might not be there. Chris Jones might not be there. Kelsey's getting up there in age. He'll be 33. Like, how many more prime Kelsey years you got? Tyreek also. Like, how many more Tyreek years you got?
They need.
Who would you take right now if you could have a duo? Mahomes and Hill or Burrow and Chase?
I'd probably still say Mahomes and Hill.
Oh, I think that's a terrible decision.
All right.
I would go Burrow and Chase because Chase is younger. He's just as explosive.
I think Mahomes is more talented than Burrow.
Oh, absolutely. I think Herbert's more talented than Burrow.
Yeah.
I think Josh Allen is more talented than Burrow. And Deshaun Watson's more talented than Burrow, but he got that swag. He got the juice.
Unreal, but I'm still on the Mahomes. On the Mahomes wagon. I mean, that's a good question to ask, though.
Winner? Got a winner?
Yeah.
Holla at me.
You.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, man. This is kind of a little off.
All right. Talk to me. What's up? I like being a winner.
Because it's part of the weekend.
Okay.
The Giants. Daboll.
Let's go, baby.
That's
Showed up in a suit.
That's the Josh Allen. That's the Josh Allen Frankenstein. I don't remember the guy's name who created Frankenstein in the lab, but that's Brian Daboll.
Yeah, and the GM that comes over too
is a Buffalo guy.
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it. I'll tell you this. I'll be honest with you. Didn't really like the press conference from Daboll. But then on the flip side, I really like Joe Judge's press conference. So what do I know, right? My favorite thing about this pairing is you got two guys that are going to run the Giants like a team that is playing 2020s football.
Also, they have the same mindset. I don't want to assume, but I'm going to envision, or I'm going to have this, I see it this way. They have the same vision on the way to build the team and the way to operate an offense. And
right.
I'm sure a lot of it is probably going to come from Buffalo, but it's proven. And I'm sure they see things the same way. They're on the same page. They probably believe, great offensive tackles and fucking strong middle linebackers. I'm kidding, but they both see
the
same
philosophy. Yeah, for sure. Well, I just think that it's my favorite thing about the hiring is what I was telling you, how they hired two guys that know how to win and run a team like you should in 2020. This old school 1983s kind of football, like that shit don't fly. You can't have that. And I like that they did it the right way too, right? They didn't hire the GM, kept Joe Judge in, and then before you know it, Joe Judge is fired, and then you're going through a head coach again. Like, that's not the cycle. Ownership, they find the GM finds the coach. Now he's going to try to save Daniel Jones' career. He's going into year 4. I'm not too excited about that. Yeah, there's a bowling alley upstairs, apparently. I'm not excited about that, but it is what it is.
Let me just make you feel better, man. I went back.
Daniel Jones' numbers in the first 3 seasons, is this what you're going to bring up?
No.
They blow Eli Manning's numbers out the water.
Better than Eli?
All of them. Like, pretty much. Even interceptions were less, and he was a turnover machine.
I don't think there's anything wrong with giving him a shot at all. But I also think, I remember Saleh when he was hired as the Jets head coach. He said, I really like Sam Darnold. I think he's really talented. So look, regardless of what the decision is, they're saying the right thing.
Yeah.
That's what you're supposed to say.
Yeah.
And the Giants have 2 top 10 picks. If he likes a quarterback, I wouldn't be surprised if they take one.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, but
that's true. Yo, if you like someone, you take them.
And there's a lot of teams that are going to need a quarterback next year. We've already talked about this. And now with Hackett, the offensive guy from the Packers going to Denver, everybody thinks it's a package deal with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So, and homie from the Niners, Mike
Daniels.
Mike Daniel.
Oh, Daniel. No S.
Mike Daniel.
Okay.
One of the offensive coordinators for the Niners is heavily rumored to Miami. Does Jimmy G go there?
Right.
I know it's just.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Interesting. Oh, thanks for putting me as a winner, bro.
Real quick, loser. Refs. How do you miss the hit on Stafford by Fred Warner? The helmet to helmet?
Yeah, that was rough.
You call all the other ones, but you missed the star quarterback getting cracked in the head?
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah, there was also a play where Mecole Hardman stepped out of bounds, and he got pretty popped, too. Like, it was, blatant. Pratt, I think the linebacker's name was, and they just didn't call a flag. But, yeah, I feel like a lot of the penalties on the late hits, tell me now, when they're on the sideline, don't it depend what sideline it's on? Don't you feel like if I'm a wide receiver and I'm on the Bengals and I get hit late out of bounds and I'm on the Bengals sideline, I'm on my sideline, and all my teammates, all my boys are coming over and they're like pressing the guy that hit me and shit and they're helping me up. Don't you feel like there's a good percentage that referee is like, oh, that gotta be a late hit because of the reaction from the teammates? If I'm on the Bengals and I get hit late out of bounds on the Chiefs sideline, I think the referee might be like, oh, that's clean. It's cool, you know? You don't think so? I'm not going to do this, but it'd be dope if someone could go back and look at all the late hits. I guarantee you, the majority happen on the sideline of the player and his team.
Where the outrage is taking place.
Yeah. Right? It's like you get shoved at the bar, bro, and all your friends are around you. They're not going to step in and be like, yo, what's up? Same shit.
Loser. Jaquiski Tartt's hands. That's why he plays defense.
Rough.
That's what I said. I swear. That was the first thing I said.
That's why he plays defense.
That's why he plays DB.
Damn,
but look, I want to just, there was 10 minutes left in the game when that happened.
Right.
So, I don't want to. Was that a huge play? Yeah. They would have been on the 50-yard line up 3, right?
Yo, do you feel like I went back and I was watching some all 22 stuff because someone posted it on Twitter? Yo, there was no one in front of him.
Tartt?
Yeah, it would have looked. You know what it would have looked like? You know when people say the best time to return is like a missed field goal?
Yeah.
Because it's all like the fat offensive linemen and shit. And, there's slower players out there. And then you have like Devin Hester returning. Or the Seahawks put DK Metcalf there one time. And he returned one to like the 50-yard line. That's what it looked like. It looked like if he was going to pick it off, Van Jefferson was behind him. Odell was behind him. Cooper Kupp was behind him. Probably like one of the running backs in Stafford.
What? I see what you're saying.
So I feel like he probably was looking at that like, oh, shit, bingo, and then dropped it.
Man, I feel bad. It's a big play. But then also there was a pick dropped by the Rams on the other side, right?
Yeah, so it's like they kind of gave it back to them.
Yeah. Jimmy G, man.
Loser? Another loser? Or do you have another winner?
Gamblers as our loser.
Yeah, rough.
Me included.
Rough for the gamblers, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of Kansas City teasers.
A lot of teasers, a lot of money line. And one thing that happens, bro, is whenever the obvious game, the lock game is first, that second game gets a lot of money rolled over because then you're chasing, right? Yeah. It's the primetime Monday night, Sunday night effect.
Someone tweeted yesterday, the NBA is foolish and stupid for not having a 10 o'clock NBA game last night. You know how many people would have bet on the basketball game if they lost both football games? Or if you maybe had a lot of money in the account after winning for football?
Yeah.
That 10 o'clock NBA game would have been crazy.
For sure. For sure. But yeah, man, that happens a lot when you have the big favorite play on first and then there's an upset. I mean, everyone I know was on. I mean, one kid bet the Bengals and he's like new to betting, so he just always bets underdogs. Like he just always bets underdogs. But
I mean, underdogs. I hate to say it, bro. It's better than just blindly betting favorites.
Yeah, especially with the points.
100%.
Yeah.
I have a winner. I got a winner.
Talk to me. Come on, bro. There's an obvious one. We haven't even talked about it.
Give me
Stafford.
Yeah.
Come on.
Legacy-defining game.
Bro, 0-3 in his career in the playoffs with the Lions. Comes to the Rams, 3-0. Now you're in the Super Bowl.
So many big throws. Third downs, tight windows, getting crushed. Niners defense is no joke, man. He made some unbelievable throws in tough moments too.
Yo, have you always been a Stafford guy? Were you ever a Stafford guy?
I think my perception of quarterbacks has dramatically changed lately. Where like I was probably like a basic guy, and I used to think like wins losses is so important. Don't get me wrong. Can you weigh it potentially, or can you use it in some situations? Yeah, right. But wins are not a quarterback stat.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't as high on him earlier on, if my older self could go back in time, I bet you I would have been higher on him. You know what I mean? I guess what I'm trying to say.
I always felt as if the situation around them was so bad, similar to Odell. That's why I think this Rams story is so cool.
Yeah.
Because, again, bro, so much. The Lions are literally known for their 2 best players ever that are potential, like, all NFL kind of guys, right? Retired early because they didn't want to deal with that organization. Think about that, bro.
Yeah.
Barry Sanders and then Megatron. This is what he had to deal with. Never had a 100-yard rusher for like 40-something straight games. Coaches in and out. They get a good coach. They fire him. For
Jim Caldwell needs a job.
Right? So they fire him. They whiff on all these draft picks. It's just constant bad. And his nickname was always Matt Statford because he was 5,000 yards.
That ain't his fault.
That was the kind of team that he was dealt with.
And the criticisms would be, he turns the ball over. Well, I'm down 14-0.
Throwing from behind all the time.
What do you expect?
What you want me to do? I do play action and there's 4 guys in the backfield because ain't no one falling for that shit.
Yo, I want to just call something out real quick because when it happened, when I watched it, I wrote it down immediately. It was the 4th quarter. It was when the Rams kicked the field goal. He called a screen to Sony Michel on 3rd down.
I know what you're saying. McVay was like, my bad, right?
Yo.
That was dope. I fucked with that.
Yo. That could have turned out really bad.
Oh, yeah. That would have been played back all the time.
Taking the ball out of his hand after what he did that whole game. I think, people talk a lot about like coaches trying to get too smart sometimes, right? Or sometimes the coaches just they get up in their heads, right? And that could have been one of those situations where, granted, it just worked a few plays before to Cup. But then maybe if you think about it from that perspective as well, why would you run it again? I just ran the same play, right? Or another version of that play. So it didn't bite them in the ass, but it was interesting. And I remember seeing him say, my bad, my bad. So he pretty much took the ball out of his hands, right? Because you're calling a screen pass there. It's one read. You're throwing the ball.
Yeah. Yo, check this out. They're down 10 in the 3rd quarter. Right, we were talking about Kyle Shanahan. Stafford, 3 straight scoring drives. 44th career game-winning drive. Do you know where he ranks all-time in the Super Bowl era? All-time most game-winning drives. Adding more context to how much shit he had to deal with in Detroit.
No idea.
He had 44th career. He's top 8.
Imagine if he was on a good team.
Favre, Elway, Marino, Breeze, Peyton, Ben, and Brady. Which goes to show you, like, all his wins, he was basically trailing for the most part, too.
That's crazy to think about.
And, yo, no one's career perception is going to change more than his if they win.
Yeah, because then there will be the element of the what if.
Bro, he'll have as many as Rodgers. He'll have as many as Russ. He'd have as many as Rodgers, a guy who would dominate them all the time. Now you would make the argument like, yo, bro,
if he was on a better team, he'd probably have 3.
Yeah, he'd have more.
That's a good point. This is a big one.
It is huge for him. And shout out to the Lions. A lot of Lions fans are supporting this one. They're rooting for him. There was numbers coming out like the Nielsen ratings, and it was the highest rated Detroit television program of the year. Bro, it wasn't. Yeah, come on, man. Show love to that. Yo, Eminem, the halftime show, and then Stafford in the Super Bowl. Big dubs for Detroit.
Shout to Detroit.
Lions missing per usual, but
and shout to Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, that was your boy. You love that.
Guy's good.
Top 10 next year.
I kind of like the Lions, man.
Yo, but Stafford, dude. I mean, he just and I felt super passionate about it. I was doing the petty shit. And I was retweeting posts from February and March when they made the move. It's like, yo, this was the best. And I put out a video now on my Instagram. It is the best situation he's ever been in.
Yeah. Winners. Rams draft picks. It worked out. They got...
Yeah. Ultimately, you want to win it. But your goal was to be in the Super Bowl and to win it. But I think even if they lose this game, I still think you can't criticize that.
Yeah, you got there. And also you got to think, a lot of these guys, the stars performed. The Rams stars shined.
Yeah.
Pass rush, Weddle, not even a star, but bro,
led the team in
talk
tackles,
about
son.
a big signing. Fucking literally in the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yeah.
Odell, Cup, you know, the running game wasn't there. Stafford shows up. Like,
Donald. Nah, for sure, man. And that's what you wanted, right? It's going to be fun to see because you got two teams, one that built through the draft and one that built through superstardom.
yeah.
That's exactly what you have here in the Bengals. Like, who's the Hendrickson? Congrats. Solid. Very solid. One of the best moves. But everything else, you've basically just drafted yourself. Mixon you drafted. T. Higgins you drafted. Boyd you drafted. Burrow. Chase. Pretty much everything you've drafted.
Bengals cap space.
Fire? I would assume it's fire.
I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty fire.
Yeah, bro. You're not giving 30+ million to one guy. Your quarterback. Bro, the quarterback takes up like 25% of your cap. Sometimes 30.
Yeah.
So that was the time, man. That was the time. If there's anything you ever take away from the pod, and I've been saying it for years, when you find a quarterback, you have a 3 to 4 year window before you pay him that you are able to win a championship under those rules. Like I think Buffalo got to be beating themselves up too. Because Josh Allen's contract kicks in next year.
I think, yeah.
The extension, that is.
Yeah.
And then the cap space.
And you think about you're wasting a Josh Allen year. All these quarterbacks now, it's like you know your quarterback's good enough to get you to a Super Bowl and win one. It's like the clock starts now. You wasted a year.
Yeah.
It's like
for sure, man. And yo, what about this? What about can I give a loser? Oh, I got a loser for you.
Give me.
Overtime debates, or do you still think Chiefs won the coin toss, bro?
I forgot who said it. I was listening to Simmons, I think, and his cousin Sal goes, if that game ended on the first possession, they would have changed the rule before the Super Bowl. But it worked out this time.
Yeah.
And I think, all of those critics of the Chiefs Josh Allen game, I think that those were silenced.
Well, yo, look, if you make a stop, right, like the Bengals did, you cause a turnover. But even if that pass was incomplete, it was going to be 4th and 10.
Yeah.
You're punting. You're probably going to have pretty good field position. Maybe like you start at like the 30, 35-ish. And then you need only 40 yards to kick a field goal. And in that case, you probably need 30 yards because your kicker is this fucking stallion.
It's the 5th round, man. I wouldn't be surprised if a kicker is drafted in the 5th round next year or sooner. I don't know why.